What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. So, I've been listening, watching, observing, if you will, the various knuckleheads, ponies, donkey, unicorns that are around. You know, they litter the landscape. You see them here and there. They remind you of certain Nickelodeon characters. Him specifically, though. So he's been trying to, I'm talking about Jimmy Neutron, obviously. He's been trying to posit the fact that, I guess, fans or Xbox fans who are on Xbox's side, this is what he says. We parrot what the Microsoft script is, the narrative or whatever, and whatever Microsoft says, then they just parrot the thing, and that's what they do, right? And it's like, oh, you notice that all the narratives are the same, and I'm like, he can't be this oblivious. He cannot be this dim-witted that he's saying these things, right? And I'm because I watched AGN's video, right? And he was going through it. I think it was AGN it was AGN. He was going through one of his rants or whatever, talking about, oh, this is war, or I'm not gonna, be nice anymore. I forgot what he said. He said something stupid. And so all these things he's saying, I'm like, he can't. This has to be a grift. This has to be a joke, because if you're that oblivious, that means you really are not smart. You really are that stupid. And I don't think he's that stupid. I'm trying to give him some credit. I mean, you have to have some smarts to have a decent vocabulary. But I guess vocabulary skill versus common sense, it's not the same. Different mechanisms of the brain, I guess. But everything that he said, saying Xbots are just, trying to gaslighting all this generation about this, that, and the third. I forgot what his examples were, but it's irrelevant because everything he said is what PlayStation has been doing. This whole generation, this whole 5 years is exactly what PlayStation has been doing. Jim Ryan came out. AGN said it. He was like, it came out. Jim Ryan's like, yeah, we believe in generations. Only the power of the PlayStation 5 will you be able to play these games. So you have to go buy a PlayStation 5 so you can play these games. Meanwhile, all them games are PlayStation 4 games. On PlayStation 4, except for 2, which they decided not to put on PlayStation 4 because they wanted to pretend like they had an exclusive for 2. Literally 2. Which was Returnal and Ratchet & Clank. Then we learned later, Ratchet & Clank runs on a hot piece of garbage PC on a regular hard drive, HDD, hard disk drive. So that lie about only the speed of the SSD can you do Ratchet & bullshit. It's bullshit with bullshots, because all that stuff is on a clinkety-clankety, old, slow-ass 5400 RPM hard drive. Of course, there were stutters, but it played. You could play it. So, yeah, they're full of shite. He's full of shite. This whole generation of PlayStation is full of shite. Then they come out with the PixelTech 5 Potato. That's full of shite. Just on the price is full of shite. The price made it more full of shite than it actually is. And then the performance is full of shite. I'm like, y'all get... Okay, the only thing you're getting with the PlayStation 5 Pro, let me let y'all know real quick, is resolution. You're getting a little bit of resolution bump. That's it. You're not getting performance because the CPU is the same. You're not getting AI, logic, or nothing better because the CPU is the same. They lied to you on that too. And then they try to put a big price on it to make it seem like it's better than it is, and it's hot trash garbage. Also, have you noticed that PlayStation, Sony, have not given us the numbers. The actual sold numbers, sold through to customers who put it in their house and turn it on for the PlayStation 5 or the PistolTech 5 Potato. I want to know how many units the PistolTech 5 has sold. I don't think it sold a million. I don't think it sold a million. I'm going to be real. Because if Sony would have sold a whole bunch of them consoles, they would be bragging. They'd be like, oh, we sold so many consoles. Ooh, we the fastest selling piece of hardware. None of that. Silencio. Nunca. Nothing. Silence. So these fools, I mean, why doesn't Jimmy Neutron, why doesn't Reforged Gamer come out and say, yo, check out these numbers. Check out these sell-through numbers. He doesn't know the sell-through numbers because Sony didn't tell him to sell through. All he's got is 75 million shipped. I'm like, who cares how many you got shipped? Because you could say 75 million, ain't nobody buying no games. So it don't matter how many you ship. I'm sorry, I keep repeating this, but this is something that people don't get. They just say, oh, 75 million is a success. No, it's not, because that's not the real number, okay? And yeah, and so and like when he went on his rant and he made up some stupid it wasn't it wasn't AGN, it was VG Fight Club, Fight School, VG Fight School. It was him. He did a video on Reforge and he was talking about the Game Pass numbers or something, and he was like, well, if he came up with somehow Game Pass only has 10 million. Xbox only has 10 million Game Pass subs. And I'm like, huh? How's that? 10 million? Is it 10? I don't get it. How do you get? He was doing some pony math, and I'm like, okay. And then VG Fight School he's like, yeah, you're wrong. And the funny thing about that is VG Fight School is not a bot. He's more of a pony. He's a PlayStation fan who happens to be on PC now because he was like, I don't care about PlayStation. PlayStation ridiculous right now. And he's like, that's what I want to hear. That's what I want to see. I want to see people who, you could be a fan of PlayStation, but don't protect them like that's your bait. Like, why are you protecting them? That doesn't make any sense. Why are you on their side? Why are you trying to back them up? They don't need that. They're a big giant corporation with a lot of money. They don't need that. But when they're sitting here lying to you day in and day out, and you're just taking it, that makes you look like you like to get pimped out, which seems to be the case. Since y'all be like, yeah, Forza Horizon 5, we getting all your games. It's like, okay, yeah, I mean, you're getting it, but you're actually getting it. And Sony's sitting there like, damn, I mean, we're getting 30%, but that's not gonna, look, all the games that Microsoft is putting on PlayStation is definitely helping PlayStation because they're in a bad spot right now. They got no games. And when they don't have games, they have no income. I mean, they have PS Plus, but and that might be like that basically is the main source of their income because it's reoccurring. But they don't have games to boost that. They don't have games to say, oh, we made so much money, we can make 2-3 games off of what we made off of it. They don't have that because they spent all this money on these games they canceled. So when Reforged, when Jimmy Neutron, when big head, middle-aged Jimmy Neutron comes through and starts talking shite, and he sounds convincing if you don't listen to his words. If you listen to the tonality and you listen to how he's speaking, you're like, oh, he's passionate. He must be saying something right. So the dummies out there be like, oh, yeah, and just whatever he says is gospel or whatever. And I'm listening to him, I'm like, huh? I mean, he is not aware. He is not aware that he is saying that he should look in the mirror basically because everything that he's been saying and is saying is basically what PlayStation has been doing to all of y'all this whole generation. And if that's what y'all like, that's what. Look, if their games are that good that you want to take all this punishment, sure. But when's the last time they came out with a game? that was like real. I mean, Astrobot. Is that what it is? Also, a little tangent, but Digital Foundry. I forgot who it was who was talking about it, but Digital Foundry came through and talked about graphics, this generation graphics, how they're disappointing and stuff. And I had a theory. Now, a lot of the times, and this is how the media is biased and kind of the industry is biased. A lot of the times, like if you go back a little bit, right? I mean, you could go back to when like the PlayStation 1 came out, and I would say Saturn, but not so much because that wasn't really a 3D console. But Dreamcast, PlayStation 1, Dreamcast, PlayStation 2, right? When 3D started jumping off, right? It was a shift in like, oh my gosh, look at it. I mean, in hindsight, it's janky, right? But it was a shift. It was like, oh man, that's kind of cool, right? So now what's happening, there's another shift in technology so that, oh snap, we're getting ray tracing, we're getting all these cool things, right? But the problem is that it's not that big of a shift because they've been using rasterization and stuff. Like they've been baking a lot of the lights to make everything look pretty, but now they're moving into more of real-time lights, real-time ray tracing and all that stuff, which is better and worse. It's more intensive for the hardware, but it's easier for the devs because they don't have to worry about baking lights and setting up a scene and you know, they just like, they set it up, the lights move, then it bounces here, it does it all automatically. But once again, you need the power to do that. And then it takes away from frame rate, resolution, all these things. So we're in the transition right now. The more powerful these machines become, then the easier the ray tracing will be, da 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 da. And so that's where I see the industry right now, and that's how they explained it a little bit, Digital Foundry. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. That's cool. I think what's happening right now is that the fact that PlayStation has no games, right? So PlayStation, the market leader, whatever that means, they have been, in the past, I'm gonna be real, they have been the ones to usher in the graphical kind of highlights, the high points, the standards, if you will. Like, oh my gosh, look at this. We should benchmark off, but they didn't benchmark. But it was like, you know, Uncharted, Last of Us 2, like graphically, okay, let's go. You know, they were great. And they were like, and I think that the industry as a whole were gauging the graphical fidelity and the advancements of graphics through that narrow lens, which was PlayStation and their games. But since PlayStation has no games, everybody's saying, oh, it's been disappointing. Why has it been disappointing? Have you not seen that there's other games that come out, right? You know, I mean, Hellblade 2, probably the best looking game ever created, but that's just a blip. Nobody's talking about that. Why? Because the game is like 8 hours long, and it's not, you know, it's not that, you know, it's more of a walking simulator, basically. Is that why? Because it's not God of War and she doesn't have an axe? Is that why? You know, they ignore stuff like that. And so I'm like, why are people saying that the graphics are less than now? You know, and I'm thinking, is it Xbox tax? Are they just ignoring Xbox games? Forza Horizon series. Forza Horizon 5, best looking racing game for what it is. Basically, it's an open world arcade racing game, and I say it looks better than Gran Turismo in gameplay. Because are there replays? You know what's funny about Forza Horizon? I'll do the races and stuff, but if there are replays, I think there are replays. I never watch the replays. I play because the game is so much fun to play. Like usually on those sim racers, like you'll do the race, like, yeah, and then you go and watch a replay and you're like, oh, look how cool that looks. Look at the graphics, right? That's what I used to do because that gave you like excitement and, you know, the camera's moving and you're like, oh man, that's so cool. I can't believe this is a video game. It looks so awesome, right? But now I'm playing Forza Horizon. I'm like, where's the biggest jump? And I'm looking on the map and like, oh, there they go. Zoom, only got 2 stars. I'm breaking that right now. I want 3 stars. And it's like slow motion, but it's not. And you crash on the, and you did it by like 1 foot, and you're like, yes. And then you look at the leaderboard and like somebody else got it, like Shmukwiki Jujugi got like 5,900 feet. Like, how you get that many feet And I can't even get 400. You got 5,900. Man. But nah. But look, it's I mean, I think Forza Horizon is the best looking game this gen, Forza Horizon 5. Even though it was a cross-gen game, still best looking game. And for a racing game, like what I used to do, this is how I know Fable's gonna be best graphics. Because Forza Horizon, a racing game. Open world, but racing game, right? Even like the previous ones too. Like I guess 2 was okay, but from 3, 4, and 5, I like 3 because Australia. 4 was good. 5 was really good. So I would there's a option. You go in the menu and you can go into drone mode, right? And that's useful for finding the barn finds and stuff. But I would go into drone mode. I just fly around. I'm like flying around and just look at the graphics. And what I would do, I find a dense forest. There's a bunch of dense tropical forests in 5 because in Mexico. And I'd be like, and I fly through the forest with the trees and the rivers and stuff. Yo, it looks like an RPG. It's a racing game. And the graphics are better than like I was going to say Sony RPG, but Sony doesn't have any RPGs, let's be real, of their own. If you want to call Horizon, Forbidden, and Zero an RPG, sure, but it ain't. You know it's not it's an open world action game with some RPG element. It's not an RPG, let's be real. So I'm like, why is it that, I mean, Xbox tax, obviously, but it's like, yo, can the industry, media, and everybody else, we need a clean slate. We need to neutralize all the idiots and just like, boom, okay, look, games are coming out. And I think what's happening, what Xbox is doing, what Microsoft is doing by being a multi-platform multi-platform publisher, it's forcing PlayStation's hand because PlayStation is looking at the numbers. They see the numbers. Look what they're selling on PlayStation. Number 1 in the US, number 1 in the UK for Forza Horizon 5. Number 2 here, number 3 here. This is like a 5-year-old game. 4-year-old game. And it's all of a sudden it's getting a resurgence. And all of a sudden it's gonna make all this money. Mainly for Xbox, some for PlayStation. And so PlayStation can't be like, oh no, we don't want that garbage game on, because they're seeing that people want to play these games. And so Microsoft is like, I mean, y'all already got a console. I mean, we didn't have to build it. We didn't have to do the R&D. We didn't have to sell it. We didn't have to take a loss for the first 2 or 3 years on it. You say you're making money on it now, but I mean, are you really? I don't know. It's hard to tell. These prices are so crazy. I mean, they would say that they're making money, even if they're not, even though that's probably illegal because, you can't really lie about their finances. But look, they find creative ways to tell the untruth. 75 million, wink, wink. So, Forza Horizon, beautiful game. All of them are beautiful, I would say, except for the first one, which was a 360 game. It wasn't ugly, but it wasn't completely open world, how 2, 3, 4, and 5 are. And so when I played it, I was like, man, if this was super open, you could go off the because it was just all the roads. You couldn't get off the roads. But I was like, yo, if you could get off the roads, go in the dirt and stuff, this would be dope. And they did it the next game. I was like, yes, thank you. And it's been the best racing game ever since. Forza Horizon 6 is gonna be a banger. They have not missed. Playground Games is the MVP of Xbox right now. Playground, I'm gonna say Obsidian. The funny thing about Xbox is that they have a bullpen of banger studios, not just games, but like studios who are putting in work, who are like well worth whatever they paid for them, well worth it. And even like as much as they paid for ABK, that's still paying off because you got Candy Crush, you got freaking World of Warcraft, and you got Call of Duty. The 3 of them are pulling in so much money, it's ridiculous. World of Warcraft is still $15 a month for I was gonna say for PC gamers, it's only on PC. So they're making money. So all these duck unicorns and these ponies with this fake outrage and fake concern, like, oh my gosh, how they gonna make their money back? 69 million is a lot of money. Shut up. Why don't you worry about how PlayStation is gonna make the money back? 400 million here, 3.7 billion here, 10 canceled games. How they gonna make that money back? I mean, minus the tax write-off from the losses, of course. Closing studios, firing people. I mean, they're all firing people, but Sony's leading the charge for closing studios. I won't say firing people because I think Microsoft fired more, only because they had acquired ABK and they were giant. Microsoft is giant. You know, you can't keep all that stuff. So it's understandable. But I mean, I still can't see like 10 games canceled. 10 games canceled, and it's like it's almost like this generation was a waste. And I think that all of that kind of sentiment surrounding PlayStation canceling all these games, not having any games, is why people are saying, oh, this generation is a disappointment. Oh, this generation, they got no graphics and right? Graphics are worse. They're not that good. They're not as good as they should be, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, first of all, PlayStation held back this generation. Y'all don't believe me. Y'all keep saying the Xbox Series S. No, listen. PlayStation 5 is a PlayStation 4 Pro. It is literally sits between the Xbox Series S and the X. The Series X is closer to the PlayStation 5 Pro. The Pixartech 5 Potato. The Xbox Series X is closer to that. Remember, the Series X is 12.2 teraflops, even though T-flops don't matter anymore, but let's just use that as a gauge so you can understand the power. Xbox Series X, 12.2. PlayStation Pixartech 5 Potato, 16.7. That's not a generational leap. That's nothing. And then you get 12.2 to the 9 point whatever it is that the actual regular PlayStation 5 is, because once again, Sony with their numbers, they like to emphasize it, well, they like to exaggerate because they say up to 10 point whatever, but that's with the variable timing and all that stuff. So it can get as fast as 10 point whatever, but that's not nominal. And so Xbox gave you the nominal speeds. And so it's more reliable. They don't need no liquid cooling because it ain't that hot, because they know what they're doing. They built a better machine, and it's more powerful than their other competitors' machine. Competitor had to come out with an $800, oops, it's barely better kind of sort of machine. And it's still hot trash. I'm looking at Pixartech and I'm like, yeah, yo, that's trash. Everybody's saying that. Nobody wants it. They're taking it out of games. Anyway. I appreciate you hanging on, like and subscribe. Let me know what you know. Let me know what you think about Jimmy Neutron, his dumb ass, and all the other grifters. But Jimmy Neutron in particular, I might once I start doing some green screen videos, I might start doing the clips and all that stuff. Maybe, but it's just ridiculous. It really is, and I don't know, whatever. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Till the weed.